This decade feels like it is undergoing something like a horror renaissance. I mean, there's just so many upcoming horror movies, especially sequels, reboots, etc. From Hellraiser to Halloween, and we've seen so many revivals, and it just fills my heart with joy. Nostalgia is a thing, guys. Very real. Now, in this video, I will explore the 11 major horror movie sequels coming in 2025. I'll keep the intro short and just dive into the subject. Let's begin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The Conjuring: Last Rites. The Conjuring: Last Rites is poised to conclude the truly spine-chilling main saga of the Conjuring universe. To be honest, this one seems like the end of an era, but then we all know how franchises come back to life even after they have ended. Just take Friday the 13th for instance. The final chapter was released in 1984, and the very next year, they produced New Beginnings. So, the point is, just like superheroes in comics, franchises in Hollywood can never really die. Announced in 2022, the fourth and final installment of the Warrens' cinematic journey comes after The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and alongside the expanding franchise that includes The Nun too. Fans of Ed and Lorraine Warren, portrayed by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, will bid farewell to the beloved demonologists as they face what is expected to be their most harrowing case yet. But they have said it about every Conjuring movie. While the plot remains under wraps, speculation suggests it could feature the infamous Amityville horror, a case that brought the real-life Warrens national recognition but is yet to be fully explored in this franchise. The previous films have tackled high-profile cases like the Parent family haunting, the Enfield poltergeist, and Arne Cheyenne Johnson's demonic possession trial. Last Rites may follow in this tradition of dramatizing real-life investigations with a supernatural twist. Director Michael Chavez, known for The Devil Made Me Do It and The Nun 2, is reportedly in talks to helm the project. Filming began in September 2024, with Ben Hardy and Mia Tomlinson joining the cast, adding fresh faces to the franchise's eerie finale. James Wan and Peter Safran, the creative minds behind the series, return as producers, which should ensure continuity in the tone and quality that fans have come to expect. While this film closes the chapter on the Warrens cases, the Conjuring universe itself shows no signs of slowing down. Spin-offs like The Nun and Annabelle franchises will continue, and new projects are already in the works. Among these is a Conjuring TV series for Max, offering further exploration of the haunted world crafted by Wan. Additionally, Wan's involvement in upcoming horror projects like The Monkey and a live-action Gargoyle series for Disney Plus hints at more thrills ahead for fans of his signature style. Saw 11. The Saw franchise, now over 2 decades old, has firmly cemented its place as one of Hollywood's most enduring horror sagas. I mean, 11 movies is not a joke. Despite past missteps like Jigsaw and Spiral, Saw 10 reignited interest with its critical and financial success, proving the series still has plenty of life left. Now, Saw 11, set for release in September 2025, aims to build on this momentum and promises to expand the intricate lore of John Kramer, the Jigsaw Killer, while introducing new twists. Tobin Bell is confirmed to reprise his role as John Kramer and would continue his journey as the franchise's central anti-hero. Bell's portrayal of Kramer in Saw 10 presented him as a man driven by personal tragedy and a warped sense of justice. His evolving character is what Saw 11 is expected to explore further. While Shawnee Smith's Amanda Young and Kostas Mandilore's Mark Hoffman are not officially confirmed, their appearances are possible, especially given Hoffman's mid-credits cameo in Saw 10. Fans speculate the film may delve into Hoffman's early days as a Jigsaw protege. The creative team behind the franchise remains in experienced hands. Kevin Greutert, a longtime collaborator who directed Saw 6 and Saw 10, returns to helm the 11th installment. Screenwriter Marcus Dunstan also re-enters the fold, having previously worked on several entries in the series. While specific plot details remain under wraps, Dunstan has hinted that the film will have a fresh and angry tone. Saw 11 continues to keep its audience guessing. Speculation suggests it might function as a direct sequel to Saw 10 and align chronologically with events around Saw 2. This approach would further explore Kramer's role as both mastermind and anti-hero, while clarifying some of the series' lingering timeline inconsistencies. One of the franchise's defining traits has been in its ability to innovate while retaining its core elements of suspense, gore, and psychological manipulation. Saw X shifted perspectives by introducing Dr. Cecilia Pedersen, an intriguing and despicable villain who exploited vulnerable individuals. While unlikely to reappear, this narrative shift set the stage for more complex storytelling in Saw 11. The movie is set to release on September 26th next year. Final Destination Bloodlines. Final Destination Bloodlines is set to revive the iconic horror franchise in 2025 after a long hiatus and would be the 6th installment in the series after a long hiatus. Directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein and scripted by Laurie Evans Taylor and Guy Busick with input from John Watts, the film aims to recapture the thrill of the original movies while introducing a fresh take. Coming over a decade after Final Destination 5 in 2011, the revival has high expectations, especially in today's times when horror franchises are getting some massive new installments. It's kinda like a horror renaissance. Recent successes like Scream and Halloween have reignited interest in classic franchises, while fresh hits like Smile and Terrifier have expanded the genre's appeal. This makes it the perfect time for Bloodlines to shine. And of course, Bloodlines tells us that the plot may revolve around someone from the previous movies or their progeny, kinda like Hellraiser Bloodlines. The series has always stood out due to its unique premise. Unlike slashers tied to recurring villains or protagonists, Final Destination focuses on the omnipresent threat of death itself, which orchestrates elaborate accidents to pick off its doomed characters. This anonymity allows the franchise to reboot effortlessly with new casts and stories. The only returning character needed is the Grim Reaper's unseen hand. But thankfully, we will also see the late Tony Todd reprise his role as William Bloodworth in a posthumous appearance. After a string of disappointing sequels, the franchise needs a clean break. The last entries felt derivative and failed to capture the suspenseful creativity of the early films. Learning from recent hits like Scream, the film must deliver genuine scares and an engaging story, avoiding the pitfalls of bloated lore expansions like the later Hellraiser sequels. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is set to deliver another animatronic horror following the success of its 2023 predecessor. Slated for release on December 5th, 2025, the sequel will expand on the universe of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein with a script from Laurie Evans Taylor and Guy Busick, the film is poised to build on the lore of the hit video game series created by Scott Cawthon. Matthew Lillard is confirmed to return as William Afton, despite his character's apparent demise in the first film. Lillard has expressed excitement about the script, hinting at a sequel that benefits from lessons learned during the first installment. Josh Hutcherson, who played Mike Schmidt, is also likely to reprise his role, as is Piper Rubio as Abby and Elizabeth Lail as Vanessa. While the cast list hasn't been officially confirmed, these returns seem natural given the unresolved threads from the first film, such as Vanessa's coma and her incomplete storyline. The plot for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is still unknown, though its supernatural foundation offers nearly limitless possibilities. With horror movies often embracing creative twists, the sequel could explore new dimensions of the haunted animatronics and their connection to the characters. Whether through flashbacks, dream sequences, or supernatural explanations, the door is wide open for familiar faces to reappear in unexpected ways. The original film left much to explore, and fans are eager for answers. While the mid-credits scene of Five Nights at Freddy's leaned more towards humor than setup, it didn't diminish anticipation for the sequel. Releasing in December 2025, the film faces stiff competition, including Avatar 3. However, the fan base and nostalgia surrounding the franchise provide a solid foundation for success. The Black Phone 2. The Black Phone 2, the sequel to Blumhouse's 2022 breakout horror hit, The Black Phone, would release on October 17th, 2025, nearly in time for Halloween. Directed by Scott Derrickson and based on Joe Hill's short story, the first movie was simply amazing. I mean, it was the very definition of a psychological horror. Ethan Hawke's portrayal of the child serial killer, The Grabber, received widespread acclaim, and it is no wonder that the film is getting a sequel. The original movie followed 13-year-old 13-year-old Finney Shaw abducted by the grabber and held in a soundproof basement. A disconnected phone in the room allowed Finney to communicate with the spirits of the killer's previous victims, who guided him to escape. By the end, Finney outsmarted the grabber, who met his demise. Despite this, Hawk is confirmed to reprise his role in the Black Phone 2, though how his character will return remains a mystery. The cast will also see the return of Mason Thames as Finney, Madeline McGraw as Gwen, and Jeremy Davies as their father, Terrence Shaw, who is another class actor but remains highly underrated. There's a possibility that in this movie, Gwen's powers see an increase. Newcomer Demian Bashir joins the ensemble in an undisclosed role. Potential directions could include exploring the grabber's backstory or a supernatural twist where he torments from beyond the grave, much like the first film's ghostly interactions. The sequel may also dive deeper into the lore surrounding the phone itself and the victim's afterlife. Insidious 6. The Insidious franchise also continues its streak with the announcement of Insidious 6, which is slated for release on August 29, 2025. Following the financial success of Insidious: The Red Door in 2023, Sony Pictures confirmed this sequel as part of the mainline series, distinguishing it from the upcoming spin-off Thread and Insidious Tale. Of course, details about the plot and cast are unknown. Since its 2011 debut, the Insidious series has revolved around paranormal investigator Elise Rayner and the mysterious spiritual plane known as the Further, home to malevolent spirits and vengeful entities like the Lipstick-Faced Demon. While The Red Door was designed as the conclusion to the Lambert family storyline, its overwhelming box office performance has reignited the series, proving that the appetite for supernatural chills is far from over. The spin-off, Thread, An Insidious Tale, explores new territory with Kumail Nanjiani and Mandy Moore starring as parents who attempt to use a spell to save their deceased daughter. Their plan goes awry, landing them in the Further, signaling Blumhouse's effort to expand the Insidious universe. While Thread shifts away from familiar characters like Elise and the Lamberts, Insidious 6 is expected to stay more closely connected to the franchise's roots. Megan 2.0. The upcoming Megan 2.0, a sequel to the wildly successful 2022 sci-fi horror hit Megan, promises to bring back the chilling charm of its predecessor. The original introduced audiences to a rogue AI doll, Megan, designed to protect her young owner, Katie, at any cost, even murder. The sequel will see the return of Allison Williams as Gemma, Violet McGraw as Katie, Amy Donald as Megan's body, and Jenna Davis as her voice. Joining the cast are newcomers like Ivana Sokno and Jermaine Clement, with Gerard Johnston once again directing and Akela Cooper returning as writer. The film is set for release in June 27th. 2025. Recently, a behind-the-scenes image offered a glimpse of Megan's familiar design, reinforcing her iconic blank face and prim attire. This continuity highlights the doll's mass-marketed appeal in the story's universe and teases the potential havoc her replicated designs may bring. Katie, now visibly older at 13, adds an intriguing layer to the narrative. While her bond with Megan in the original was rooted in childhood grief, the sequel may explore a more complex relationship, with the doll symbolizing unresolved trauma and her struggle to move forward. Megan 2.0 seems poised to retain the winning elements of its predecessor, from eerie vibes and unsettling humor to its viral dance moments. The original earned rave reviews, scoring a certified fresh 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and grossing $181 million globally on a modest $12 million budget. The sequel carries the weight of high expectations, aiming to match or even surpass that success. Director Gerard Johnston and Blumhouse Productions are banking on the same formula of scares, satire, and social commentary to keep audiences hooked. Whether the sequel can recapture the lightning-in-a-bottle magic of Megan remains to be seen. The franchise's commitment to delivering both carnage and cleverness bodes well. With its stellar team and a promising premise, Megan 2.0 is shaping up to be another electrifying chapter in the saga of the killer doll. I Never Forget What You Did Last Summer. The I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise is back with a new sequel for a July 18th release next year. Titled I Never Forget What You Did Last Summer, the film will pick up after the 1998's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, ignoring the poorly received 2006 installment. The upcoming movie promises to bring resolution to the cliffhanger that left fans questioning the fate of Julie James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., who were last seen facing off against the vengeful Ben Willis. While Julie's ambiguous ending could be dismissed as a dream or hallucination, the sequel finally aims to provide clarity. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in discussions to reprise their roles, which only means that their characters survived. With Jennifer Caton Robinson directing, known for her work on Thor: Love and Thunder and Do Revenge, and Leah McKendrick's penning the script, the sequel is in promising hands. McKendrick, a self-professed fan of the original, is determined to respect the franchise's mythology while introducing new elements. The franchise began with the 1997 adaptation of Lois Duncan's novel, helmed by screenwriter Kevin Williamson. It became a box office hit, grossing $125 million globally on a modest $17 million budget. Its 1998 sequel fared decently with $84 million, but failed to reach the original's critical success. After a lackluster direct-to-DVD installment in 2006, the series faded until now. 28 years later, not a sequel, but the first of a new trilogy of films based on the famous 28 Days Later post-apocalyptic horror movie. The long-awaited 28 Years Later is set to reignite the terrifying 28 Days Later franchise with a release date of June 20th, 2025. This third installment brings back Danny Boyle as director and Alex Garland as writer, with a star-studded cast, including Ralph Fiennes, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, and Cillian Murphy, reprising his role as Jim. Set decades after the Rage virus outbreak, the new film dives into the grim aftermath with the virus still plaguing communities across Britain. Ralph Fiennes recently shared plot details about the upcoming trilogy. The story focuses on a young boy's desperate quest to save his dying mother, leading her through the hauntingly beautiful but dangerous landscapes of northern England. They seek out a doctor, played by Fiennes, whose demeanor masks his role as a force for good. Meanwhile, the infected continue to lurk in forests and hills, keeping the tension high. While the first film will primarily focus on England, it hints at broader consequences, as the previous film's ending showed the virus reaching Paris, possibly impacting Europe. Fiennes revealed that 2 of the 3 planned movies have already been filmed, suggesting a well-thought-out trilogy. His character's ambiguous nature plays perfectly into his history of portraying morally complex roles, adding depth to the bleak post-apocalyptic setting. Jodie Comer is speculated to play the mother, but her role remains unconfirmed. Other casting possibilities include young royal star Edvin Riding, though set photos suggest he may play a military figure. The Strangers Chapter 2. The Strangers Chapter 2 is gearing up to continue the chilling reimagining of the 2008 home invasion horror classic. Directed by Rennie Harlin, this second installment in the trilogy follows the aftermath of The Strangers Chapter 1, diving deeper into Maya's survival story. Initially slated for a 2024 release, the film has been pushed back to 2025, but a teaser trailer has already given fans a glimpse of terror to come. The trilogy reshapes the original story, introducing a more elaborate narrative over 5 days in Maya's life. Unlike the ambiguous ending of the original film, Chapter 1 concludes with Maya surviving a brutal attack, setting the stage for her next ordeal. Harlan described the trilogy as a 4.5-hour epic, split into 3 chapters, with Chapter 2 exploring Maya's psychological, emotional, and physical struggles as she tries to move on from her fiance's murder and escapes her relentless tormentors. The teaser hints at Maya's continued plight. She wakes up in a hospital, escapes in the rain, and finds herself in a car with 4 strangers who may or may not be her attackers. The trailer raises questions about Maya's paranoia and whether these strangers are a new threat or figments of her trauma. The film expands the killer's presence, suggesting a larger conspiracy tied to the small-town setting. Madeleine Petsch returns as Maya, with Richard Brake reprising his role as Sheriff Rodder. New cast members include Gabriel Basso and Emma Horvath. The fate of Froy Gutierrez's Ryan, left critically injured in Chapter 1, remains uncertain. Harlan promises to delve into the motivations of both victims and perpetrators, while teasing unsettling twists and revelations that will elevate the story beyond the traditional home invasion trope. Special mention, The Strangers Chapter 3. Now, this is a special mention because details are really scarce, but the movie has been confirmed. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.